You are standing in the middle of a showroom, or perhaps you have 20 different tabs open on your browser. On one side, you see the deep, ink-like shadows of an OLED. On the other, the blinding, vibrant punch of a mini-LED. The price tags are shouting at you, and the salespeople are throwing acronyms like Nits, dimming zones, and infinite contrast at your head. You're left wondering, is the most expensive one actually the best, or are you just paying for a label? Most people buy a television based on a 30-second glance at a demo loop of a slow-moving jellyfish or a vibrant rainforest. But you aren't most people. You want to know what happens after 5 years of heavy use. You want to know how the screen handles the afternoon sunlight hitting your living room in the middle of a Phoenix summer. You want to know if your high-end gaming console is going to leave a permanent mark on your investment. Today, we are moving past the glossy brochures. We are looking at the engineering, the chemistry, and the hidden math that dictates your viewing experience. This isn't a hot take, it's an education in display physics. By the end of this, you won't just know which TV to buy. You'll understand the structural engineering behind every pixel. To understand these two giants, we have to look at the very atoms they are made of. This is the first thing most buyers ignore, but it's the foundation of longevity. OLED stands for Organic Light Emitting Diode. The organic part is the kicker. It means the pixels are made from carbon-based compounds. Just like any organic material, these pixels have a natural lifespan. In the early days, this was a major concern. People called them ticking time bombs because they would eventually dim or burn in. But it is 2026, and we need to update our science. Modern OLEDs now use deuterium-stabilized pixels. By replacing standard hydrogen with deuterium, a heavier, more heat-resistant isotope, engineers have significantly slowed down the aging process. When you hear about burn-in today, it's often an overblown fear. If you vary your content, a modern OLED is designed to last a decade. Now, look at Mini-LED. Despite the name, a Mini-LED TV is a highly evolved liquid crystal display, or LCD. Instead of organic compounds, it uses thousands of microscopic inorganic LEDs. These are made from materials like gallium nitride, GaN. These are semiconductors, the same stuff used in high-performance power electronics. They don't decay in a biological sense. They are built to withstand massive amounts of heat and current for decades. The engineering truth? While OLED has become much more durable, the inorganic nature of Mini-LED still gives it a structural head start in extreme, high-usage environments. Now, let's talk about nits. A nit is a unit of brightness, essentially the light of one candle per square meter. In 2026, the Nit War has reached a fever pitch. We are seeing flagship Mini-LEDs hitting 5,000 to even 10,000 nits. Meanwhile, the newest OLEDs using micro-lens array, MLA, or QD-OLED technology have finally crossed the 3,000 nit threshold. Why does this matter? It's about specular highlights. When you watch a movie and a sun reflects off a car's chrome bumper, you want that light to feel physically real. Mini-LED has the luminous flux, the raw energy to make those highlights blindingly beautiful. However, we must talk about the ABL, or auto brightness limiter. Because OLED pixels are organic, the TV's brain protects them by dimming the screen if it gets too bright for too long. If you watch a hockey game or a cricket match played on a bright sunny field, the OLED will eventually pull back to keep the pixels cool. Mini-LED doesn't have this fear. It can hold a full-field white screen at high brightness indefinitely. If your TV is in a room with massive windows, the Mini-LED is the only one that can punch through the glare. The number one argument for OLED is infinite contrast. Because an OLED pixel can turn completely off, the black levels are perfect. In a pitch-black room, it's a religious experience. For years, the knock against Mini-LED was blooming. That ugly blue or gray haze you see around bright objects on a dark background. But the 2026 engineering has changed the math. We are now seeing Mini-LEDs with 20,000 porous local dimming zones. When you have that many zones, the blooming becomes almost invisible to the human eye. We have reached the point of perceived contrast. While the lab instrument can tell the difference, your eyes, in a standard living room with a few lights on, will see perfect blacks on both. But here is the price reality. To get those 20,000 zones, Mini-LEDs have become just as expensive as OLEDs. It's no longer a budget choice versus a premium choice. It's a choice between two different flagship engineering paths. If you are a gamer, this is where the debate gets technical. OLED has a response time of roughly 0.03 milliseconds. Mini-LED is closer to 1 millisecond. On paper, OLED is 30 times faster. For competitive esports players, that perfect motion is a godsend. There is zero ghosting, zero blur. But let's look at the hidden cost, the HUD heads, up display. If you play the same game, like FC26 or Call of Duty for 1,000 hours, those static health bars are the ultimate stress test for an OLED. While 2026 software dimming has made this safer, the risk of differential aging, burn-in, is still a factor that lingers in the back of a gamer's mind. Mini-LEDs in 2026 have countered with 14.4 Hz and 240 Hz refresh rates. While the pixel response isn't instant, it is so fast that 99% of players won't notice. You gain the ability to play for 12 hours straight without a single worry about your health bar becoming a permanent part of your screen. This is the part that most people ignore, but as I always say here on the channel, the hardware is only as good as the software controlling it. This is the SoC, or System on Chip. You can have the best panel in the world, but if the brain is weak, the TV will struggle. This is where OLED traditionally wins. Because OLED is the gold standard, manufacturers usually pair it with their most powerful AI processors. These chips handle upscaling, the process of taking a 1080p YouTube video and making it look like 4K. However, in 2026, the value kings, like TCL and Hisense, have started putting flagship-grade silicon into their mini-LEDs. When you're buying, don't just look at the panel, look at the RAM. If a TV has less than 4 GB of RAM, it will likely start to feel slow and laggy within 2 years. A TV is now a computer, and you shouldn't buy a computer with a weak brain. Now, let's talk about something specific to our climate. Heat is the E1 killer of electronics. If you live in a warm, humid city, your TV's ability to dissipate heat is critical. OLEDs are thin, beautifully thin, but that means they have very little room for airflow. High-end OLEDs now use gray foil or copper heat sinks, but they are still sensitive instruments. Mini-LEDs are generally thicker. While they pull more wattage at full brightness, their chassis allows for much larger internal heat sinks and better ventilation. If you have dirty power, common in many parts of India, the power supply, SMPS, of a TV is under constant stress. Investing in a mini-LED with a robust, well-ventilated design is like an insurance policy for your hardware's lifespan in tropical conditions. We have to give credit where it's due. Viewing angles. OLED pixels emit light in every direction. You can sit 70 degrees to the side and the colors will stay perfect. Mini-LED, because it uses layers of liquid crystals, will always have some level of color shift or wash out when viewed from the side. If your living room is wide and your family sits in a horseshoe shape, the OLED is the only way to ensure everyone sees the same quality. If you have a dedicated sweet spot on a couch directly in front of the TV, this engineering limitation doesn't matter. Here is the most important update for 2026, the price. The gap between a flagship mini-LED and a high-end OLED has shrunk to a sliver. OLED manufacturing has become so efficient that they are no longer unreachable. In fact, in some sizes, an OLED might actually be cheaper than a 20,000 zone mini-LED. So, the decision is no longer about your bank account. It's about engineering ROI. Mini-LED allows you to go big. An 85-inch mini-LED often costs what a 65-inch OLED costs. And here's a certified truth: size is a quality of its own. At a 10-foot viewing distance, the immersion of an 85-inch screen almost always outweighs the 2% difference in black levels of a smaller 65-inch screen. So, let's wrap this up. How do you choose? Think like an engineer. Choose the OLED if you primarily watch movies at night with the lights off. You have a wide seating arrangement where people sit at angles. You want the absolute pinnacle of motion clarity for esports. You value naturalism and perfect blacks over raw brightness. Choose the mini-LED if your living room is bright and has windows you can't easily cover. You want a massive 85-inch cinema at home experience on a fixed budget. You are a marathon gamer who leaves static maps on the screen for hours. You want impact HDR that actually feels like the sun is shining into the room. Most buyers are told that OLED is the premium choice and everything else is a compromise. But in 2026, that is a marketing myth. Mini-LED isn't a compromise. It's a different set of engineering priorities. It's the smart choice for the way most of us actually live. Next time you're in that showroom, don't look at the jellyfish. Look at the nits, ask about the zones, and remember the chemistry. Buy the tech that fits your life. not the tech that fits the salesperson's commission. I hope this helped you understand the physics behind your next big purchase. If you have questions about specific models, drop them in the comments below. I'm Sal, and thanks for letting me explain.